Patrick Cook here. So thank you for joining me in another session of our Mandelbulb 3D Gotcha series. Now, in this particular Gotcha session, I want to talk about a particularly difficult situation that you'll run into using the Navigator. And this is a very precise situation in which you run into this, but it can be actually very damaging to your creativity. Possibly you could lose work, and it's an annoyance. But it's easy to never run into it if you know where the bug is. Okay. Now, I'm not going to repeat the whole point and the purpose of this Gotcha series. Please refer back to the Gotcha series session number 1, GTA.1. The first 8 minutes or so, I go through what we're trying to accomplish in this Gotcha series. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get straight into this particular Gotcha, which I call the Navigator goes on strike. Okay, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Let's turn our attention here to the Mandelbulb application. This is the main view. This is the Navigator. This particular Gotcha does not involve the keyframes, so I don't have the animator window up. We don't need that. But I'm going to demonstrate this particular Gotcha and kind of show you how you get to that point and what you can do about it, other than avoid it. If you get tripped by it, well, there's really only one solution, and I'll show you what that solution is. Now, all right, we have the standard Mandelbulb up here. Let's get something more interesting on the screen. I'm going to load two formulas. One formula in formula slot number 1, slot number 2. I'll put a different formula. Let's put in amazing box, because that's always very interesting, in formula slot number 1. Formula slot number 2, I'm going to put in amazing surf 2. That's interesting too. So I've got two formulas loaded. Formula 1 slot has amazing box. Formula 2 slot has amazing surf 2. Obviously, these are pre-made formulas that come along with the installation of the Mandelbulb 3D application, and you simply call them up. Now, let's calculate that. We get a very interesting pattern. Okay, very good. Now, keep in mind here that I am in alternate mode. Alternate mode. This is a hybrid mode where you're mixing the formulas that are in the various formula slots. Obviously, if there's no formula assigned to a slot, it does not play in the overall calculation of your Mandelbulb. And yes, that is a Mandelbulb. That is a Mandelbulb, and that is the result of two formulas, Amazing Box and Amazing Surf 2, that have been combined or mixed in what's called the alternate hybrid mode. Now, in my series, what I was talking about, the formulas, the Mandelbulb formulas, okay? I'll put a link up on the screen here. I talk about the 3 different hybrid modes, all right, in my formula tutorial. Now, just in a very brief, the alternate mode is where you'll have each of the formulas in the formula slots are written to the screen alternatively. So one formula is written, another formula is written, another formula is written, slot number 3, if it was assigned, and it's not. If formula 4 was assigned, a fourth formula would be written to the screen. You get some very interesting effects when you write multiple formulas to the screen. Their pixels will interact with one another, and you effectively have a layering effect on your screen in alternate mode. So in alternate mode, it's effectively a layering where the formula slots that are assigned are laid on the screen alternately. The interpolate mode is where the formulas that are assigned are written to the screen, but the algorithm, the code, will only take the average of the two formulas. So where the two formulas interact, then what's written to the screen is the average. Let's calculate. This is interpolate mode. Okay. DEcombinate mode. Let me calculate that for you. We're deep on that one. It's often referred to as a volumetric Boolean. Now, please go to the formula tutorial series. I'm putting links up on the screen here so you know which sessions to go to for each of the hybrid modes. Please go to that tutorial series where the definition of the 3 hybrid modes are thoroughly and carefully described. So just for the purposes of this gotcha discussion, that we're in 3 different modes. This is going to have some meaning to you here in just a few minutes. Let's go back to interpolate. I'm going to recalculate. That's what our design looks like. Now I'm going to pull that over to the Navigator. You know what the Navigator does, right? I can navigate through the scene with the Navigator. All right, slide. All right, walk, that sort of thing. And you also know that I can adjust my formula properties, all right, in the Navigator. I can do that over here as well, but I don't have the slider control of the formula properties that I have here in the Navigator. Okay. All right. So, and you also know, or you should know, that I can assign the number of interpolations to this formula right here in the Navigator. I can do that over as well in my main view. I can assign the number of iterations. Now, an iteration is the number of times that the formula will repeat. An iteration of 1 says that that formula is going to write to the screen 1 time. An iteration of 10, it's going to write to the screen 10 times. Okay, those are iterations. I can control the iteration count here on the main screen in the Formula tab, or I can come over here and control the number of iterations right here in my Navigator. That's pretty cool because you can instantly see, well, a low resolution result of your change at the number of iterations, in this case of the Amazing Box formula. I can get to my Amazing Surf 2 in formula slot number 2. And I can do the same thing there too. I can change the iteration count. All right, well, that's the area that you get yourself into a jam. All right, let's go back to Amazing Box. I'll tell you what, let's pull that back in, give ourselves a fresh start. Now, if I change the Amazing Box iteration count, it changes the design because I'm having an impact on the number of times that a formula is written to the screen. All right? If I inadvertently go down to 0 iterations. That means that that particular formula is not written to the screen. In this case, it's only going to be formula number 2 that writes to the screen because I have made an iteration count of 0, which means that that particular formula slot does not write to the screen. So I don't have an alternate mode anymore. Well, I mean, I do, but only one formula writes to the screen, you see? All right, no big deal. Put that back, you know. Okay, that's not going to work. Obviously, I don't have any controls over the formula properties when I'm in an iteration count of 0. That makes perfect sense to me. All right, no iteration, no writing of the formula to the screen. Well, you can't control any properties of a formula that won't write to the screen. All right, so in that sense, these controls were very well thought out by the original designer. Now, let me put that back. All right, no big deal. All right, so, and I get back and I'm okay. I can go back to normal. Let's, oh, that's interesting. Let's push this Navigator back to main. I'm going to view to main, recalculate. All right, there we go. We're good. Okay. All right, so that was a cycle of I'm in alternate mode with 2 formulas. I pulled it over to the Navigator. I played around with the iteration count and the properties. I inadvertently went down to 0 iteration, no damage whatsoever. Let's go over to interpolate. Let's interpolate these 2 formulas. Now I'm interpolating with 2 formulas. The formulas have stayed the same, but I've changed the values over here in the Navigator in that previous demo of the alternate mode. But let's take that. Let's pull that back into the Navigator. That's pretty weird. Let's get in here. Let's change some properties. Let's change the scale, change the folding. That's interesting. Okay. All right, and so even I can do iterations. Now that is a 1.3 because I'm in interpolate hybrid mode now. All right, so my formulas are being averaged together, and I have a finer level of control over the iteration count. But you can see what's happening. Okay, 1.6, 1.7. Let's go down, and let's do the oops. And we go into the oops, 0. 0 iterations. So what's interesting is I still have some control here of the formula, but there is no effect of the formula on the Mandelbulb scene because obviously there is no iterations of the formula. Little inconsistent. Over in the alternate mode, all of these controls disappeared. In the interpolate mode, in the 0 iteration, the controls are still there, but they don't do anything. All right. All right, well, let's put that back up here. All right, so we're okay. We're okay. Everything still works. Let's push that back to main, recalculate it. Everybody's happy. That's interpolate mode. Now, let's go to DEcombinate mode. All right, and let's recalculate. Now that's what the scene looks like when I've taken my 2 formulas and I have combined them into a DEcombinate hybrid mode, which is a volumetric Boolean. Please go to the formulas tutorial and learn all about these. I talked about all these hybrid modes probably exhaustively. Anyway, but we're in DEcombinate mode right now. We still have our 2 formulas. All right, we have modified the formula properties over in the Navigator. No big deal. But this is what our scene looks like now after I've calculated these 2 formulas with these properties in DEcombinate mode. All right, so let's pull that back over to the Navigator. I have all kinds of good controls here. All right, I've got an iteration count of 1. All right, let's make it so that we're seeing something interesting here. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay, very good. That's interesting. Okay. Now, if I mess around with the iteration count, not a whole lot appears to be happening, because with an iteration count of 6 in DEcombinate mode, it's volumetric Boolean now. It's a whole different style of mixing formulas. All right. All right. Amazing box. I've got 6 iterations. Don't see a whole lot happening, but that's okay. But I'm free to mess around with these and see what I can do. This is how you create your patterns. You mix the formulas. You got 3 hybrid modes. All right. Alternate, interpolate, and DEcombinate. And you've got 6 formula slots. And you've got something like 424 pre-made formulas. You can do an awful lot. You can get a lot of combinations. And I also have the ability to change the iterations. So let's do that. Let's say, oh, that's nice. And okay, well, there's our iteration count of 0. My controls go away. Makes sense, just like before. No formula is going to write to the screen. No properties to change. All right, but I'm in trouble now. You'll notice here that when I go back up past 0, my formula properties sliders don't work anymore. Okay, I can't move. I can't do any moving. Okay, slide up, let's walk forward. Here's look left, nothing works. All right, even if I'm not in 0. So we have just seen a gotcha that where the navigator will effectively stop functioning. All right. And it stopped functioning when I went to 0 iterations when I'm in DEcombinate mode, and stopped working. Now, I could push this back to main, and I will. And you notice here the design, and I'm going to recalculate the design. And you'll notice here we have a formula. Error formula option is not valid. It is refusing to calculate. Error formula option is not valid. Basically, Mandelbulb is kaput. Mandelbulb application has effectively crashed. It didn't disappear from the screen, but it's no longer functional. All right, so the only way I can salvage this is to exit the application. Let's stopping calculate. See, it's in a weird state right now. Let's exit, force it to go. All right, let's restart it. All right, okay, and I got to set this to idle. All right, and I'm gonna just redo that. Let's get my formulas. Now, what I should have done is I should have saved this off to an M3P file, and then I could reload it again. With the Mandelbulb application, save often. Save often. All right, but I'm just going to go ahead. Just this demonstration purposes, I'm just going to reload these formulas. What did I have? I had amazing box. There we go. I had that. Formula slot 2. I had amazing surf 2. Calculated. Good. There we go. Navigator. All right. So I'm back to square one. Now, let me run through this real quick to show you that this particular gotcha, the Navigator will stop functioning, and indeed the entire application stops functioning, when you, in DEcombinate only, I have found, if you bring the iteration count to 0, it's broken. That's your gotcha. All right, so alternate mode, pull it into the Navigator. I can do all kinds of stuff. I can walk forward, I can walk back, and go to 0, iteration count. I can go back, and I can continue to work, and everybody's happy. In interpolate mode, let's recalculate that so you can see it on this side too. Let's pull the parameter in. All right, I can change, I can walk around, I can slide, I can rotate, no big deal. I go to iteration count is 0. There we go. Obviously nothing works. I come out of iteration count, go back to what I was, and I'm okay. Push that back to main, fine, everybody's happy. DEcombinate, calculate it so you can see it here. That's an interesting design. Pull it over to the Navigator. I can walk, okay. I can look, I can rotate. All right. I can change the properties of my formulas. All right, I can change the iteration count. If I go to the iteration count as 0, go back. All right, the Navigator is completely locked out. I can't move, nothing, no values here. Go up, change it, doesn't matter what I do. Now I can even close the Navigator, reopen the Navigator, and I'm still stuck. All right. Now I can come back over here. I could recalculate. All right. Let's see. Can I change any values here? Okay. Let's change values. Recalculate. I can change values here. Yeah. Recalculate. Not much. Let's go back over to. Let's change that from. What was that 2,500? Let's change that to 3,000. Okay. Okay, right. So I can still do some changes here, but no matter what I do, the Navigator is completely locked out. The Navigator has gone on strike. All right. I close it, restart it again. Navigator is still busted. The only way I have found to be able to get out of this state is to close the application, and even it's having a hard time stopping 3 times. Okay. All right. Let's get the Mandelbulb going again. Now I should load this up from a saved M3P file, but that's all right. We've shown here that this particular gotcha, which you can understand why I call it the Navigator goes on strike. This particular gotcha is this. In DEcombinate mode only, if you take the iteration count to 0, the Navigator completely locks out, and the main view is crippled, all right? But you're in a state where you should not continue, and you should force close the Mandelbulb application and start over. All right, so that's it for this particular Mandelbulb3D gotcha. I want to leave you with a thought. This is not a rant, this is not a complaint. What this is identifying the flaws of your tools so that you can avoid the flaws of your tools and be able to get maximum creative value from your tools. Don't give up on the Mandelbulb because it's got some flaws. Every tool that I go buy, online or at some big box retail store has got a flaw. There's certain things it just can't do. A hammer can't screw a screw in. Okay, that's not a flaw. It's just I don't know, maybe an oversight of the design of the hammer. Who knows? The point is that the Mandelbulb application is an extremely powerful fractal generator in the lines of the Mandelbulb, which is a three-dimensional Mandelbrot. Very powerful tool. Don't give up on it because it's got a few bugs. Understand where those bugs are and don't run into those bugs. And if you do, you already have been in a habit of saving often. It's going to be a minor annoyance as opposed to trashing a lot of work, and as opposed to you just getting frustrated with the application. You decide, I'm not going to do it anymore. I don't want you to do that. I want you to understand where the quirks are, where the bugs are, where the problems are. I want you to be ready for those. Don't run into them, and if you do, be able to recover your work quickly and move on, and don't get frustrated with the bugs and the issues of the Mandelbulb3D application. It's a very powerful application, and you could do a lot with it. Like anything else, you need to understand where its flaws and limitations are in order to not get caught by them. All right, that's enough for now. Thanks for joining me in this Mandelbulb3D Gotcha session. I hope this is valuable to you. I know, for me, knowing where the problems are, where the bugs are, has enabled me to really be able to move forward and get to the true value of this application. All right, so until next time, you take care.